call to order this March 27th, 2024 meeting of the North Allegheny School Board. Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving on to our calendar review, we have our regular meeting this evening, and our next meeting will be on April 17th. That will be our work session, and we will have a proposed final budget presentation. Our next item is our speakers on voting items. Do we have any? No, we have no pre-registered speakers. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on a voting item this evening? Seeing none, I will move on to approval of the minutes. Ms. Hardy.
Thank you, Mrs. Warner. This month, the board will vote on approving the minutes for the February 21st, 2024 meeting, and I so move.
Second.
My apologies. Any discussion on the minutes? Ms. Britton Dozier is joining us online. Mrs. Britton Dozier, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, then we are ready for the vote.
The vote is open.
I can't vote electronically because my computer has gone its own way.
No
So
problem.
I'm an aye.
Thank you.
I'm an aye as well.
Thank you. I've recorded you both. The vote is closed and passes unanimously.
Given we met last week and discussed all the voting items on our agenda, and there were no concerns, we're going to have a consent agenda this evening. Would someone like to move the consent agenda?
Thank you, Mrs. Warner. I will make the motion for a consent agenda this evening.
And I second that.
Are there any comments on the consent agenda? Ms. Britton Dozier, any comments?
No, thank you.
Then we are ready for the vote.
The vote is open.
I vote aye.
Thank you, Ms. Britton Dozier.
I vote aye as
Thank
well.
you.
Thank you, Dr. Gibbs. The vote has closed and passes unanimously.
We will move on to special reports by the board. I see that our legal counsel has submitted an electronic report. Do you have anything else to add?
No, other than I owe you.
You owe us the other. Excellent. Thank you.
I'll get on that.
Then we will move on to the Citizens Advisory Committee report and the North Allegheny Foundation report. Dr. Simkowiak.
The Citizens Advisory Committee will next meet in April. The North Allegheny Foundation has had a couple of meetings since the last presentation and are moving forward with assessing grant applications for next year.
Thank you. Next, the Beatty Career Center report and the legislative report from Mrs. Blackburn.
Thank you, Mrs. Warner. So at Beatty, we have been discussing the budget, and we will be looking to approve that here. We have 28 students going to the Skills USA competition. I believe it's next week. It's coming up very shortly. And we did talk about the potential addition, but we still have not received information as to what our cost is going to be here at North Allegheny. So I will report that as soon as we get that. All good things happening still at Beatty. They have the attendance has actually is forecasted to be even higher. So that's something that is making us think that we need to put on that addition. The open house went well, and that's my news on Beatty. Legislative, there are three things that two probably will pass. The residency they're looking at, and a child can still attend pending a parent's appeal if they've been found, if the district determines somebody is not a resident. But all of the monies in the process, and the families would have to pay. So it would be quite dangerous for somebody if they in fact if it wasn't determined that they were a resident, because I'm sure it would turn out very costly for them. They'd have to bear the cost. On right to know, any documents, including references to working programs for accommodations on anyone with a disability, those are exempt from right to know. And last thing, with phys ed, districts may allow those who are competing in interscholastic sports to count that toward their phys ed requirement. These are all proposals. We'll let you know if anything has passed both the House and Senate and becomes law. So I expect the residency and the other to go through because they're in their final rounds. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Blackburn. We will move on to speakers on non-voting items. No one has pre-registered, but is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on a non-voting item this evening? Seeing none, we will move on to our closing items. I have an announcement, but prior to that, does anyone else have an announcement this evening? Mrs. Blackburn.
I just wanted to welcome the 4 new members I see in the back who have joined our North Allegheny family, and we're really looking forward and welcome to the district. Thank you.
Yes. Anyone else? Because that was the same thing I wanted to do. We voted this evening on a point, no worries. I wanted to vote on we just voted to appoint our first 4 police officers, Brian Hobel, Steve Liston, Gregory Walton, and Eric Sipes. And before we end this evening, I would like to present you with your badges.
Officer Brian Hogel. Thank you, sir. Welcome aboard. Thanks, that's appreciated. Officer Greg Walton.
Well, nice to see you. Very nice to see you. Thrilled to have you.
Officer Eric Sipes. And Officer Steve Liston.
You get one with everybody together?
Why don't you walk over there?
I didn't want to block you guys.
Oh, please do. Yeah, just something on there in the background.
Congratulations.
All right, and now that we have welcomed our new police officers, I believe now we can adjourn this meeting.